Hey everyone! Up until now, we've mostly been creating data on the stack and sometimes in static memory. In this lesson, we're going to learn how to allocate memory on the heap and how to delete it afterward. Let's start with a simple variable. Right away, you need to understand that we'll be interacting with heap data through pointers. That means you always need to first create a pointer to the data and then assign it the address of the newly created heap variable. Here's the syntax for creating a variable. First, you write the pointer's data type. It must match the type of the variable. Then you put an asterisk and the name of the pointer. At that point, the pointer is created. Next, you assign it like this: new data type. That's where we meet a new keyword, new. It allocates memory on the heap for the type you specified to the right and returns the address of that memory. In the first version, the variable isn't initialized, so it'll contain garbage. In the second and third versions, we use parentheses or curly braces, which will initialize the variable to 0. Or we can put a value in those brackets and the variable will be initialized with that value. Let's look at a few examples. Here I created a pointer on the stack and an uninitialized variable on the heap and assigned its address to the pointer. Then I change the value using the pointer and print it out. Next, I create another variable with the value 0 using new and print it too. Finally, I create a third variable with a given value and print that one as well. Let's run it and see what it outputs. You can also pass heap memory to other functions and return it from them. For example, I have a function called change value. It takes a pointer as a parameter and uses it to change the value of the variable. We pass it the address of our variable. Notice that I passed the pointer, so its value, the address of the variable, is what gets sent. After changing the value, I print it again. I also have another function that creates an int variable on the heap. You give it the value you want. It creates a pointer on the stack, allocates the variable on the heap, links it to the pointer, and then returns the address through the pointer. Now, based on the last lesson, you might be thinking, wait, the pointer was on the stack, so when the function ends, won't it be destroyed? Then we'd be returning an invalid address. The pointer itself does get destroyed, but what we return is its value, the address. And that address is for a variable on the heap. Remember, heap data sticks around until you delete it using the delete keyword or until the program ends, so the returned address is still valid. We assign it to our pointer in main and then print the value. Let's run it and take a look. Now, let's move on to creating constants on the heap. It's just as easy. All you need to do is add the word const both to the pointer type and to the type of the data on the heap. And since constants must be initialized when they're created, you have to provide a value inside parentheses or curly braces. If you try to create a constant without doing that, you'll get a compile time error. I print the value of the constant to the screen through the pointer and everything works fine because we're just reading the value, not trying to change it. But in the next line, we try to modify it and we get a clear and expected error. If for some mysterious reason you need to allocate a pointer itself on the heap, all you really have to do is add another asterisk to the type. And of course, you already know that on the stack, you'd still need to create a pointer to hold that pointer. So what does a pointer to a pointer look like? Yep, 2 asterisks. Why would you ever need that? You'll find out soon enough once we get into two-dimensional arrays. And don't forget, even when you're working with pointers on the heap, you can still assign them addresses of data from the heap, static memory, or the stack. Now we're getting into something more interesting, arrays. You can also create arrays on the heap. Here's how the syntax works. First, you create a pointer on the stack that will hold the address of the array. And if you've been paying attention in the previous lesson, you'll remember that this pointer actually points to the very first element of the array. Then you create the array itself. Unlike creating a single variable, here you need to specify the size of the array inside square brackets. And here comes the good news. On the heap, the array size can be any value, not just a constant. That means you don't have to stick to literals or constants. You can use a variable. What does that give us? Well, it means we can now create arrays with user-defined sizes. For example, we can ask the user to enter the size of the array, then create it, let them fill in each element, and finally print all the elements back to the screen. Let's run the program and see it in action. And if I run it again with a different size, it works just the same, only with a different number of elements. Let's check. Why does this work? Well, when you create arrays on the stack, the compiler needs to know their size at compile time. If you try to put a variable as the size, you'll get an error because variables are only evaluated at runtime. That's why you can only use constants or literals there. But with arrays on the heap, the size is decided at runtime, when the command is actually executed. That's why you can use variables, which makes heap arrays a much more flexible tool than arrays on the stack or in static memory. Now we're moving on to two-dimensional arrays on the heap, and this time things aren't so simple. The first way you can do it is with the real syntax for a 2D array on the heap. In this case, each element actually sits next to the others in memory. Sounds good, right? But here's the problem. The new operator returns the address of a one-dimensional sub-array of the 2D array. So you need to create a pointer like this, a pointer to an array of a certain number of data type elements. We already talked about this in the previous lesson. Below, I've created a 3x5 array and assigned its address to a pointer. But honestly, this approach isn't very practical. I've almost never seen people do it this way because it lacks flexibility. The reason is that when you create a 2D array on the heap, the number of columns still has to be known at compile time. That means if I create two variables for the dimensions of the array, I can't actually use the columns variable here. Only literals or constants are allowed. So if you really want a true 2D array, it's often easier to just use the stack because the syntax there is much simpler. But there is another trick we can use. We can create an array of pointers and then assign each pointer to a separate one-dimensional array. The result looks and works like a 2D array. Technically, it's not a true 2D array, but from the outside, it behaves the same. Here's how it works. First, I ask the user to input the dimensions of the array. By the way, if the user enters a negative number, you'll get a runtime error when trying to create the array on the heap. Then I create an array of 5 pointers on the heap. Pay close attention to the syntax here. On the left, I'm declaring a pointer to a pointer because, as you already know, new doesn't give you the address of the entire array. It gives you the address of the first element. In this case, that element is a pointer, so the type of our main pointer is pointer to pointer. After that line, we now have an array of pointers on the heap. But here's the catch. Each pointer inside that array just contains garbage values at first, pointing to random places in memory. If you look at the first diagram, on the left, we've got our pointer to pointer sitting on the stack, and on the right, the array of pointers on the heap. That pointer to pointer is connected to the array of pointers, but each element inside still points to random locations. So we need to fix that. Using the loop, we go through each element and assign it a brand new one-dimensional array from the heap. If you look at the second diagram, you'll see that with each iteration, we create a new array of numbers and assign its address to the element in our array of pointers. Keep in mind, every time you create an array on the heap, it gets placed in some random spot chosen by the system. So all of these sub-arrays are scattered around in memory, not stored side by side. That means technically this isn't a real 2D array. But the good news is we can still use this array of pointers exactly the same way we would a regular 2D array. From the outside, it works the same, and it's actually more flexible than a stack 2D array because you can use variables for its size. After building the array, I have a block of code that fills it with random values. I'm using the same helper function I explained in earlier lessons, so I won't go over it again here. Finally, I print all the elements to the screen. Let's run the program twice and see how the size changes when we input different numbers. Now, let's move on to creating strings on the heap. Remember, a string is really just a one-dimensional array of type char, so the syntax is basically the same as when you create a regular array on the heap. But here's the difference. When you create a string on the stack or in static memory, you can assign a string literal directly with the assignment sign. On the heap, though, that doesn't work. Instead, you have to use curly braces like I've done here. After that, you can work with a string the same way you always have. Just don't forget, if you leave out the curly braces, then what you actually have is just a character array, not a string, because it won't include the null terminator. Alright, let's run it and take a look. So, we've learned how to create data on the heap, variables, constants, pointers, and arrays, but now it's time to talk about how to delete data from the heap. When you create an object on the stack, it gets destroyed automatically once the program leaves the block where it was created. If it's in static memory, it stays alive until the program ends, but objects on the heap are different. You have to destroy them manually with the special command delete. Let's look at an example. Imagine you've got some code, then you call a function that allocates an object on the heap. Then there is more code after that. Here's the problem. Once the function ends, the program destroys the pointer because it was on stack, but the object created on the heap stays in memory. And since there are no pointers left pointing to it, that object just sits there until the program finishes. That's what we call a memory leak. This happens all the time, especially in big projects. If some of you play video games, you might have noticed how some games slow down the longer you play. That's often because parts of the code keep allocating objects on the heap without ever freeing them, so memory usage just keeps growing. So here's the rule. Every object you allocate on the heap, you need to delete yourself. That's what the delete keyword is for. If you want to delete a single object, a variable, a constant, or a pointer, you just write delete followed by the address. Usually that means just passing in the pointer. The command follows that address, frees the memory, and makes it available for other programs, or your own, to use later. A couple of rules here. Never pass the address of data from the stack or static memory into delete, or you'll get a runtime error. And never delete the same memory twice. Why? Because once you free memory, it's no longer yours. Other data might already be sitting there, and if you try to delete it again, your program will crash. So how do you do it properly? Let's say you need an object on the heap. You create it, use it through a pointer for as long as you need, and the moment you're done, don't wait, just delete it right away. Otherwise, you might forget. Even better, after deleting, set the pointer to null PTR so you don't accidentally try to delete it again later. If the pointer is null or null PTR, you can safely call delete on it as many times as you want. Nothing will happen. You can also write functions that return addresses of objects on the heap. For example, here's a function that creates a heap object, initialize it with a given value, and returns its address. You can assign that address to a pointer, work with it, and later delete it. Or you could write a function that takes a pointer to a heap object and deletes it. Honestly though, just writing delete directly is simple enough. Now, let's talk about deleting arrays. Here, the rules are a little different. When you delete an array from the heap, you need to write empty square brackets after the delete keyword, like this, delete square brackets. That tells the program you're deleting an array. If you forget the brackets, chances are you'll run into a runtime error. Why? Because when you allocate an array on the heap, extra information about its size is also stored in memory. If you try to delete that array with plain delete, no bracket, the command won't have the size info, so it can't properly clean up the whole array. The reverse problem also exists. If you try to delete a single object with delete square brackets, the program will look for array size information that doesn't exist and end up touching memory it shouldn't. So keep that in mind. As for deleting strings, it works exactly the same way as deleting any other array, since a string is basically just an array of characters. Now, two-dimensional arrays are a bit trickier. I'm not going to show you the technical version of a 2D array, but rather the visual kind. The one most people usually think of when they say 2D array on the heap. You already know how to create one. First, we make an array of pointers, assigning its address to a pointer. Then, for each element in that array, we assign a regular array of numbers, and just like that, we can work with it as a two-dimensional array. But once we're done using it, we have to delete it. And here's the important part. You do it in reverse order. First, you loop through all the pointer elements and delete each of the arrays of numbers they point to. After that, you delete the array of pointers itself. Since creating and deleting a 2D array takes several lines of code, you can write helper functions to handle that logic and keep your main code clean. That's exactly what I did here. You can take a look at the code yourself and see how it works. Memory isn't infinite. If you create too many objects on the stack or in static memory, you'll eventually hit a runtime error. But what happens if you try to allocate an object on the heap and there just isn't enough free memory? In that case, C++ gives us exceptions. Exceptions are special objects that get created when something goes wrong, so we can analyze the problem and decide how to handle it. When you try to create an object on the heap and the system is out of memory, the new operator throws an exception. If you don't catch it. Yeah, I know that wording sounds strange for you. Your program will crash with a runtime error. But if you do catch it, you can respond however you want. For example, by printing a message like "no extra memory available" and letting the program keep running. We'll go much deeper into exceptions later on, many lessons from now. We're wrapping up this lesson, so let's tackle the last question. What kind of data should you put on the heap and when should you actually do it? I'll break it down briefly. For now, you can practice by putting large arrays, like two-dimensional arrays, on the heap just to get comfortable with it. But in real situations, here's the general rule of thumb. Use the stack when the object is small or has a fixed size, is only needed inside the current function or block, and should be destroyed as soon as it goes out of scope. Examples: temporary calculations, small structures, don't worry, we haven't covered structures yet, or small arrays, say under 10,000 elements. Use the heap when the object size is only known at runtime, when it's really large, when it needs to outlive the current function, or when it needs to be shared. Examples: an array for storing user input, image data, an object that needs to stick around after a function ends, or an array whose size that user chooses. And use static memory when the object needs to exist for the entire lifetime of the program, or once per module or process. This is good for things like caches, lookup tables, or configuration values that only need to be initialized once. And that's it for this lesson. Thanks for watching. If you liked the video, feel free to hit the like button, leave a comment, subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet, donate via the link in the description, or become a channel sponsor to get access to practical lessons.